We need your help here on Seahawks Today. Can you share today's video? Here's what I need you to do. Click the share button, select the Facebook icon, and then from there, click Post to Facebook. Sound off in the description with your thoughts on all things Seahawks and let people know why they need to watch today's show. And then tag us on Facebook, Seattle Seahawks from Chat Sports. Rub our back, we'll rub yours, show us some love, and we'll get started with this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Glad to have you with us here on the program. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. And we are talking about what ESPN had to say about offensive lineman McClendon Curtis. There's a great article out on ESPN.com, breaking down the standouts, the surprises, if you will, from offseason OTAs and minicamps across the National Football League. And the player they highlighted for Seattle was McClendon Curtis. Listen to this from Brady Henderson of ESPN. The Seahawks signed Curtis off the Raiders practice squad for tackle depth in September after Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas suffered injuries in the season opener. After not playing a single offensive snap as an undrafted rookie in 2023, Curtis is now competing for a starting job at right guard. With Anthony Bradford missing much of the offseason program because of an ankle injury, Curtis worked with the first-team offensive line at that spot ahead of rookie third-round pick Chrsitian Haynes. The competition will begin in earnest when pads come on in training camp, but Curtis has made a strong enough impression so far to think he'll be a legitimate contender. And if we're being honest with you, Curtis crushed it this offseason. This was an unexpected surprise from the Seahawks of what they got out of McClendon Curtis. You have Anthony Bradford coming into year two, and he showed some flashes, right, but there's still work to be done. You invested a third-round pick in Chrsitian Haynes, and there's high hopes for him, with him being the odds-on favorite to win the right guard job. And then McClendon Curtis, just basically an unknown, right? Didn't play a single snap on the offensive line for Seattle last year when they picked him up from the Raiders. And all of a sudden, you got three possible options at this offensive guard spot. He also caught the eye of Mike McDonald, the Seahawks head coach. Had this to say about Curtis just a while back in the offseason program. He knows multiple spots. So if you know what to do, it's easy to move you around. I think the whole offensive line, it's always one big puzzle piece as you trying to find the best five and the backup plan if someone can't go, and making sure you have enough depth so you're not looking in the middle of the season and you have really no options. He's doing a great job, had a great offseason. And I got to tell you, you can't rule out McClendon Curtis and his chances of potentially earning this starting right guard position when the season begins. With him getting those first-team reps early and making the most of that opportunity with the injury to Bradford and with Haynes being a rookie and everything here, I'm excited about McClendon Curtis. Is he going to win the job or not? That remains to be seen, but at least the Seahawks have options here. And I'll tell you this, I'm not rooting for anybody here. I hope they all succeed and all play well. I just hope that at the end of the day, the Seahawks make the right decision and go with their best option. It doesn't matter to me if it's Curtis, if it's Haynes, or Bradford here that win the job. I just hope that they choose the right one that's worthy of it. And McClendon Curtis off to a good start so far in the offseason program. Let's ask you, our pinned comment today, will McClendon Curtis win the starting right guard job? Type Y for yes, N for no. Y in the comment section and tell us what you think. Let's tell you more about McClendon Curtis. Undrafted in 2023 out of Chattanooga, then went on to the Las Vegas Raiders, and he was cut shortly after the season began. Ended up signing with the Seahawks off of the Raiders practice squad, was on the active roster for pretty much most of last year with the Seattle Seahawks, and ended up playing one game as a rookie in 2023. And it's so fascinating because literally no one knew this guy. And now the Seahawks have, at the very, very least, found themselves a good depth piece for next to nothing here. It is not a guarantee that we see McClendon Curtis ultimately win this job and get playing time or not. But the fact that he's there, the fact that he's making a difference, that's huge for this Seahawks team to have a depth piece that they basically weren't expecting. Corbin Smith of Seattle Seahawks had this to say in regards to Curtis. Standing 6'6" and weighing 328, Curtis looks more like an NFL tackle with a tall, athletic frame. But he delivers powerful blows to the frame of opposing defenders with bricks for hands and uses excellent length to create push in the run game as well as keeping hands on pass rushers, possessing the skill set to excel in the interior despite his height. And you talk about value. If you go back to when he was coming out of Chattanooga, the folks at NFL Media had given him a draft grade of a 5th or 6th round pick. And then obviously he went undrafted. The Raiders ended up passing on him, and he ends up in Seattle here. There's some terrific value that the Seahawks got in McClendon Curtis. Let's go over his scouting report now. A broad frame with good mass muscle. He's able to redirect the B-gap rushers from the pocket, and he's a good team player. He helps his friends out on uncovered pass plays. He's looking to do the extra step, take that extra mile, if you will. He steers defenders with his inside hands. The big knock on him, if you will, he lacks ideal coordination to move and strike. But overall, pretty good stuff when it comes to McClendon Curtis there. So let's go over the depth chart of the offensive line for Seattle here. And you can see Bradford there. Curtis is there as a potential option to back up at both left guard and right guard. And we mentioned the experience at the tackle spot as well. The Seahawks have some obvious question marks, right? Charles Cross hasn't lived up to the billing of a first-round pick to this point yet. Laken Tomlinson, what version are you going to get? You're going to get the Pro Bowl version we saw in 2021 or the disappointing one we saw with the Jets last year? Olu Owatimi and Nick Harris competing for that starting center spot. Edge to Olu, it would appear, coming into his second season. Then Abraham Lucas, how is that knee going to hold up after offseason surgery? We'll see. What's your confidence level in the Seahawks offensive line entering 2024? I'm a little bit skeptical, but I'm optimistic. Cautiously optimistic, if you will. Scale it for me 1 through 10, your confidence level. I'm going with about a 6.5 or a 7 at this point in time, but I'm feeling good. I think they're headed in the right direction at this point. Byron Murphy jerseys on sale now. Chatsports.com/Murphy is where you can get yours today. He's going to wear the number 91, so just add a 9 to that. We have the home jerseys, the away jerseys, the alternate action green options for you. Go see for yourself. Chatsports.com/Murphy to get yours today. Men's and women's options available, all different sorts of shapes and sizes. Also got free shipping as well. Go to chatsports.com/Murphy to get yours now. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Now, as I said earlier, I don't have a dog in this fight. I am rooting for Bradford, Curtis, and Haynes to all compete and hopefully all play well for this job. But at the end of the day, think about this. What's the saying? Iron sharpens iron. Competition makes everybody better. At the end of the day, throughout this competition, whoever ultimately wins the job is going to be better with the fact that somebody is going to be on their back right there showing that, hey, I deserve a shot at this as well. It's a good problem to have if you're the Seahawks, essentially. More from Seattle Seahawks on what's going on there at that spot. In the battle for a starting spot throughout camp, Curtis takes advantage of an interior offensive line that isn't set in stone and fends off rookie Chrsitian Haynes to win the right guard job. With his unique frame and long arms, he can attack defenders on the second level easier than his counterparts, and that becomes extremely appealing to offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. So with all that said, do not count out McClendon Curtis. You heard it first here on Seahawks Today that if we're sitting here and the season begins and McClendon Curtis ultimately wins the job, don't act surprised because we told you here on the channel he's got a shot, and he's been impressing so far to this point. Show some love to McClendon Curtis. He used to wear the number 66. Unfortunately, not the number 69, my favorite number. Spam 66 in the comments section to show some love to McClendon Curtis. Maybe he's watching or he's got a family member watching. We want to make sure that our support, our voices are heard loud and clear, that we're rooting on McClendon Curtis. Heck, even if you want to throw in 69 for all I care, go ahead and put it in the comments section. If you enjoyed today's show, like and share the video. We certainly appreciate it. We want to get this show out to as many people as possible. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.